Welcome back to the channel, or if you're new here, welcome for the first time. My name's Megan, and this is my mess. Hello, welcome. I had been doing a lot better with all of this, but boy, oh boy, did I have a rough week. So we are going to clean it all up. We're also going to talk about social stuff and how I ended up in a room full of strangers making that little honey jar with some ladies that I met online. We're also going to talk about how I accidentally became a party planner at my son and daughter's school and how I am being forced to plan parties against my will and have been doing so for almost a whole year now. So let's buckle in for a nice little walk and chat, clean and chat. On the video, obviously I'm cleaning. In real life, while I'm recording the voiceover, I am walking on my walking pad because, you know, double duty, multitasking. I only have so much time in the day before my kids are awake. So let's get into it. Where to start? I think what I want to talk about is how I am typically like a very solitary person. I was going to say solitudinary, but that's not a word. A very solitary person. I grew up in a home where all of us sort of like went to our separate corners and didn't come out. I think there's a term floating around on social media called like a bedroom kid. And like we had a bedroom family. Like everyone kind of went to their bedroom and just hung out alone by themselves, which as an adult now, I totally get. I want to be a bedroom person now, but my toddler doesn't really allow for that. And I think when I was a toddler, my mom was not a bedroom person. Like we went everywhere. But I think as we all kind of got older, as I got a little more independent and was into reading books and whatever, I was happy to be by myself, right? My brother is 4 years younger than me, so we didn't have a lot in common and we didn't really hang out. And I went to a private school, so all of my friends lived further away, right? We couldn't just like pop out into the neighborhood and hang out together. We had to arrange a ride or whatever. So in any case, I have always been a pretty individual type of person. And for a long time, I was kind of okay with it. I was always a little sad, feeling like I was on the outside, of course. You know, I would watch friend groups. I would watch other kids, other teens have their groups that they were really close to, and it was like I was watching a nature documentary, right? It was like, oh, look at those creatures in their natural habitat having friends. I just didn't understand how that worked. And so I'm feeling a little sad talking about it like that, but that is how I felt. And even as an adult, as someone in my teens, as someone in my 20s, and up until now, well, not now, but recently, I was somebody who kind of would get into a serious romantic relationship, and then that would be my primary source of companionship. And that was kind of it. I did have some times in my teens and 20s when I was a little wild and partied and kind of was looking for my place in the world. But ultimately, when push came to shove, I've always been happy by myself. I've always been happy to go to dinner by myself, see a movie by myself. I've never had any shame in that. In fact, even today, I think my greatest wish is that I could visit Disney World alone. I know that sounds very sad to most people, but that is just my nature. I can travel with others. I would love for my children to see the wonders of Disney. That's fine. But I think I would really have the best time if I could be by myself and eat what I wanted when I wanted, see the shows I wanted when I wanted, and ride the rides I wanted when I wanted. Honestly, that's it. Without having to worry about anyone else's comfort or needs or snacks or bathroom breaks or anything. So that is kind of who I am at my core. okay? And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, really, but we do live in a very communal society. I mean, not America necessarily. America is kind of an individualistic society, but humans really do need other humans. And as I've become a therapist and have gone through my own personal therapy journey for almost a decade, I realize that I need community. I realize that I am more satisfied if I have other people, if I collaborate with other people, if I allow other people to help me and come alongside me. But again, my basic instinct is always to push that away or to be nervous about it. And I think that anxiety comes from a fear of rejection, a fear of like being sort of like an alien, just like I got dropped onto the planet and I just don't know how friendship works or how group relationships work. I really struggle. So I'm afraid I'm going to mess it up. I'm afraid I'm not going to be equal. I'm afraid someone's going to get sick of me, right? So having friendships is very difficult, which brings me to how I ended up as one of the only big volunteers at my son's small school. And man, do they really appreciate when I step up. And I have stepped up. I've been asked to be the room mom for the whole middle school, which sounds overwhelming, but the whole middle school is really only like 24 kids. But still, that's a lot. That's a lot of different parents to interact with, right? I'm not a math person, but that's almost like 50 adults involved at various times, plus the teachers, plus school administration and a festivals committee and all kinds of things. And so I was asked to be the room parent because I had expressed last year that I wanted to connect with the school community. So my son's teacher called me over the summer, said, "Hey, will you be the room parent? I think it will help you connect with the other families," which was a lovely gesture from the teacher. However, most of what being the room parent for this whole school year has done for me is caused me an immense amount of anxiety, guilt, and shame. And a lot of triggers. Sorry, I'm getting emotional. I feel like I'm crying right now. It has brought up so much shame and fear over this last year because of a few reasons. Number one is there's no handbook for the room parent. Like, there's no calendar of expectations for the room parent. I think this is a tradition that has just been handed down over the years, verbally and relationally. And because I haven't been a part of the school, like most of the students have been there since kindergarten, at least, if not preschool. So these families, these other families that I'm working with, have all, many of them, known each other for 8 or 9 years. And so a lot of them already have known each other. They already have this unspoken understanding of the rhythm of each school year and what is normal and what happens every year. And I don't have that in my bones because I've only been there. Now this is the end of our second school year there. And so this whole year, I was like a deer in the headlights all of the time. Every time there was a new expectation, I would panic because I didn't know what I didn't know. In fact, that has happened even up until this past week, which I will get to. But there are just a lot of things I don't know that I don't know. And rather than really partnering closely with another group of parents or a group of the parents or even just one of the parents, I've kind of just been free falling. At the beginning of the year, when I saw that this was going to be bigger than what I had anticipated, I did go to the school administration and I was asking them, like, hey, do you have a handbook for room parents? Do you have, just any sort of, like, even a one page of, like, here's the tasks that are involved? And they said, no, not really, but you can make one if you want. And I was like, that's so weird that you would ask the person who's asking for it to make it, but sure. And so that fell kind of flat. And then there were a couple of other parents that I had reached out to who have done it before. And they were mildly helpful at the beginning. They gave me some pointers. But overall, I've just really been flying by the seat of my pants and responding to whatever the teachers say. And I also massively flubbed Teacher Appreciation Week and did nothing because, quite honestly, I'm just not that kind of mom, and I didn't have the emotional, physical, or mental energy to do anything that week. So we didn't. And that is what it is. That is what it is. I am just realizing, I think this year, what kind of a person I really am. I mean, I'm always trying to be self-aware, but I think this is really bringing it out even more that, like, I really shouldn't be in charge of these types of things. Like, I don't want to plan parties for the class. I don't want to plan the 8th grade graduation party, which is what I'm doing currently. It just feels like a lot of pressure. And in my family, rather than asking for help, we just throw money at the problem. But I don't have like a ton of my own personal money to just throw at these problems. And the school is small and doesn't have a very big budget. So there's only so much money that can be thrown at these problems. Meanwhile, also keep in mind, again, if you're new here, like I also am trying to keep up with the house. As you can see, I didn't do a great job of it. And I also am running a counseling practice with my friend / business partner. And I also am, I don't know, just trying to live like a balanced life. And it's been really rough. So yeah, it's just been a struggle. So anyway, so this party, the 8th grade party, I was informed, which again, I don't know if I ever would have been informed. If I hadn't asked, I probably would have been informed like yesterday, and the party is coming up in less than a week, if I hadn't asked. But a few weeks ago, I emailed the teachers and I said, hey, I am noticing that we are coming upon the end of the year. Are there any final activities or things that you would like help with? And this was really less about offering them help and more about me trying to protect my own peace so that I wouldn't get sort of like slapped across the face with a last minute activity, because that is my worst trigger ever, is getting things like thrown on my plate with very short notice. And so sorry, I'm seeing the video. My wheel of decluttering has not been used. So sorry if you were really excited about that. That fell by the wayside. Thank you, ADHD. But yeah, so I, with my party planning and school momming, room parenting, I was trying to avoid being tossed some responsibilities at the last minute. So I reached out via email. The teachers got back to me and they said, oh, actually, yes, there is a massive responsibility at the end of the year for you. The 8th graders always have a small reception at the school. And this is something that these children have been waiting for 8 years or more. and their families have seen many of these before, so they also have expectations. And guess what? Person who's never seen it before or participated in it, you get to plan it. You get to pick the food, you get to pick the decorations, and and then at the end, by the way, I appreciate my son's teachers very much, but like this is just how my brain is receiving the information. This isn't how they said it, obviously. This is just my panic filter. Everything that is scary to me, the tone comes to me through my panic filter, okay? So I'm hearing this and I'm getting scared. And so I need to decorate, I need to get food, I need to get everything nice and fancy in one day, overnight, before the graduation ceremony. Now, keep in mind, I did have a few weeks to like plan it, but actually like setting everything up was going to happen the day before and whatever, okay? And then at the end of the email, the one teacher says, remember, many hands make light work. And that's true. Many hands do make light work, right? Like if people are a community and they all come together and they can work well together, and one person brings paper plates and one person brings some little candles, and another person wants to bring a cake, that's amazing. That would be great. But in my mind, it's not about the actual work, okay? It's not about the actual work for me. It is about holding it all in my brain, holding all of the pieces in my brain. And what happened with this was that I immediately was like, I don't want to ask the other families to all agree to something, and then I have to worry about whether or not that's going to happen. I just want to control it all and do it by myself, which is essentially what I did, what I've done, what I will do. Now, the other thing is the fear of rejection. Again, I think I mentioned that at the beginning, fear of rejection. If I ask, I feel like I will be overwhelming the other families, because we are all at the end of the school year. We are all losing our minds, okay, as parents right now. We all have a bunch of things being thrown at us. And so when I was tasked with throwing this party, in my mind, it's like, well, this is my responsibility. Like, I don't want to burden these other people and risk upsetting these other people, because I have to text them fairly frequently with all sorts of requests, and this feels like one too many. So that has been my thought process. I know, and what I tell my clients, I'm such a hypocrite, but what I tell my clients and what I should tell myself is that I am denying other people the opportunity to be involved. I am denying other people the opportunity to feel helpful, to feel connected by not asking them, right? Like, I am taking away that opportunity for them. And so I should offer, because I do believe fundamentally people want to help, people want to be useful, right? But instead, my negative narrative came in and was like, no, people aren't going to want to help you. Like, you just need to figure this out. Also, it will be too overwhelming to keep track of everything, so just do it yourself and it'll be easier. So that's kind of what I did. Now, I do have one good friend that I've made from the school who happens to be my son's best friend's mom. So I did reach out to her and I told her what was happening. And she is an artist and she is into marketing, and she's like the head of the yearbook or whatever. So I reached out to her and she offered to make poster boards to celebrate each of the graduating students. There's only like 4 graduating 8th graders. So, which I know makes this sound insane that I'm this concerned about it, but if you've ever been involved in like the PTO or like an HOA or some kind of like small community, the smallest things can often feel quite huge. And for those 4 families this graduation is a really big deal. So in any case, I reached out to my friend. She offered to make these beautiful posters because she has access to photos of these kids from like their whole time at the school because she's the yearbook person. So that's amazing. I'm so grateful to her. And then I had another lovely mom reach out to me. She's a teacher, actually my daughter's teacher for her little preschool class. She has been friends with a couple of the moms of the 8th graders for many, many years. And so she also reached out to me and said, hey, would you like help with the decorating part and the setup part? And I said that would be absolutely fantastic because she is the head of our festivals committee. So she is very, very, very adept at decorating and setting up for all of these kinds of events. So I'm being supported and I'm telling people that yes, I'm afraid to ask for help, but I will gladly accept help. So people have reached out, they're helping. I feel very good about that. But I'm also aware that this whole process has been very anxiety provoking and it is something that I need to work on. I think my instinct is that I want to just I want to just back it up, not do it again next year. The room parent thing is supposed to be a 2-year commitment. So I think my instinct, like I said, is to back out and just never do it again and to just hide. But I think the growth, my personal growth, would be if I do continue, assuming I don't get fired by the teachers, but to continue, but also to rope in a parent from a grade below my son because they're in the class together. So rope in another parent and then we can work together and I can share the load and I can pass down all of the knowledge that I've learned from this year to this other person. And then hopefully the cycle will be broken of alone and on my own. And this new parent will get this information and be a good support. And then she can do it the following year and life will be great. Okay. So that's that. Now let's talk about, just to mention, I'm going to talk about something else, but let me just, oh, that's gross. Let me just mention like another curveball that got thrown at me. I knew that I had to collect money for teacher gifts for Christmas. I did not know that we were collecting money for an end of year teacher gift. Like, I'm happy to give the teachers more money and a donation. That's amazing. They deserve it. But I didn't know that we were doing that. So I ran into another mom at our May Fair over the weekend. We had like a beautiful spring festival. I ran into this mom and she's like, oh, what are you doing about teacher gifts? And I was like, I'm sorry, what? Pardon? Pardon? Like, what do you mean teacher gifts? And she's like, yeah, the end of your teacher gifts. And I was like, well, that's another thing nobody mentioned to me. So anyway, she was lovely. She's one of those moms who's been there for like 47 years. She brokered a deal with another mom who loves to give gifts, and that mom is now in charge of that. So I am being helped despite myself. Like, despite my tendency to want to hide in a cave, other people are reaching out to me and helping me. So I am grateful for that. And I am learning so much about how to be a social person and how to help. So the 8th grade party is going to be beautiful. I will try to post some photos. It's happening on the last day of May, so I don't have them yet, obviously, but I'll try to post some photos later on my community page if you're interested of how it all turns out. I'm sure it will be lovely. I'm actually really happy, and I think it will be lovely. I've ordered food for it. I have decorations for it. I think it's just the whole process and the pressure, the social pressure around it that makes me break out in hives. The other thing is my daughter's birthday party. We are planning a big party, not big, but for a 3-year-old, like kind of big. We already have like 20 something people, almost 30 people coming. So that's happening in a few weeks as well. She's turning 3. And for her first birthday, we had a huge blowout party in the backyard. We had tents, we had a caterer. We invited all of our neighbors on our street, plus, family and friends and all that kind of stuff. And it was really nice. It was really nice, but it was also super expensive. So we don't want to do that again, but we do want to do kind of like a scaled down version. And so my family, my dad is coming into town, and my husband and I are thinking about the party, but this is another thing where like I am just now, like literally the last 2 days, coming to peace with it, because I was in such a state of anxiety about it and pressure about it before. Like the idea of having that many people at my house is very anxiety provoking. So stay tuned for that deep clean before people come here. And then also, I think, again, this idea of rejection, right? Like I was really hesitant to send out the invitation. I was like, no, like, it's fine. I can invite all of Amelia's little friends from school, because my husband was saying like, oh, don't invite too many kids, because then, the more families that are here, the more food we have to get, and, whatever, it's expensive. And I was like, oh, it's okay. I can invite a bunch of them. Like, I'm sure most people aren't going to come, right? Like, people aren't going to come. Well, let me tell you, within an hour, less than an hour of texting the invitation out, we already had 20 people, like kids and adults, confirmed. So, I guess I don't really know what the moral of the story is, but I have a fear of rejection. I have some social anxiety. I want to throw money at things because I feel like that's what makes everyone happy, even though I know that's not true. And also, trying to coordinate with other people and their opinions is really challenging for me. Like, we wanted to have a petting zoo at her party. And then we went back and forth with it, and my dad's going to pay for it, and it's going to be great, and it's going to be so fun, and Amelia loves animals. And then my husband's like, oh, what about our 2 giant dogs? How's that going to go? And I was like, oh, it's not a problem. And then the more we thought about it, the more we realized it would be a problem, and we can't just like lock them up in a bedroom for an hour while the animals are here. So that was sad. That was a challenge. We also were really struggling over, oh, look at that kitchen. It looks so nice. Oh my God. What a relief. It feels so much better. So much better. Anyway, so this birthday party, I'm not super duper anxious about it anymore, but I feel like trying to plan that on top of planning the other thing that I didn't want to plan just gave me a lot of anxiety, gave me a lot of fear, gave me a lot of, oh yeah, I'm not quite done with the table yet, but don't worry, I'm going to come back to it. Do not worry. But yes, so a lot of fear, anxiety, all of that. I am learning, guys. I'm learning. I'm learning how to include more people. I'm learning how to collaborate with people. And I'm learning how to accept help. I'm accepting help. I just have a really hard time asking for it. I have a hard time asking for it. And I think it's mostly, again, fear of rejection and fear of having to, even though I'm getting physical help, having to still hold all of the mental responsibility in my head, because that is exhausting. My head is a very overstuffed, full environment right now. Honestly, like I am so overwhelmed most of the time. So friendships feel hard. Now, I do have, as some of you know, one very good friend. We text every day, we call occasionally. That is like a perfect relationship for me because I don't have to leave my house, I don't have to worry about it, and it is very fulfilling, and I love her very much. I have my business partner, who is a very good friend, And I don't have to worry about that too much because she's a very forgiving, neurodivergent person. Her whole family is neurodivergent. I don't have to worry about offending her. We get along great. Oh, there's the clean table. Look at that. And then I'm also trying to branch out with other moms. You'll be very proud of me. I went, that little bee honey pot that I showed you at the very beginning, I went to a local moms meetup. And, oh yeah, I got to change that. Went to a local moms meetup at a Color Me Mine pottery painting place a couple weekends ago. I, again, had a hard time asking Ed if he would watch the kids, but I did it, and I had a great time, and I connected with some other moms. Yep, we're not even going to touch that laundry, but we are going to clean this before we leave today. So hang in there a few more minutes. Yes, hung out with some local moms. Super satisfying. It was really nice. And that is also an online group of local moms where we can like get together with our kids at parks and stuff over the summer. So I'm very excited about that. And then the other thing that I just did yesterday that was super fun, now that Amelia is old enough to actually play with other kids instead of just next to other kids, is that some of the moms from the school we go to who are in our preschool class, we started a group chat like last week, and which it's only been, you know, a year and a half, but whatever, that's fine. We finally got there. I hadn't exchanged phone numbers with these people, and I've known them for over a year, but now we finally did. Summer is here. If you're in the Midwest, you understand you cannot really go outside until it's summer. So here we are, and we went and met at a park yesterday. There were like 6 little kids who all know each other, who played great at the park for 2 hours. So guys, I am not a party planner. I don't want to be a party planner. I don't want to be like this huge social butterfly, but I do know that I need to be part of a community. I need to be part of some family communities where my kids can really benefit from those types of relationships and support. My son really benefits from his best friend and their family. They're amazing people. My daughter is going to benefit from me connecting with these moms and coming together with these kids, despite my own anxiety about it. And I am going to become a better person and hopefully a less anxious person the more I put myself out there and am willing to ask for help, ask for support, and just really be with people and let people come alongside me. I don't have to do it all by myself. When I watch other people who just seem to like be magnets for community, I am so in awe of them. Like I know a lot of you here also watch Feral Tradwife, and I see how she is with her live chats, how she is with the community that she's built. And I believe that her success on YouTube is a lot to do with her personality. She's amazing and funny, like her on-screen personality, but I think more so, it's how she's able to engage with everyone who watches her and how she has really drawn people in and connected. So anyway, that's it. I am so proud of Beth. She is my inspiration. She is my role model, but I am also just looking to all of these other families and women in my life who are also amazing and inspirations. And all I can do is keep showing up and keep doing my best and keep trying and stop letting fear run things. So I love you. I will see you in the next video.